When I say Taylor, you say gang. Taylor, gang. Taylor, gang. When I say Taylor, you say gang. Taylor, gang. Taylor, gang. Taylor, gang. Taylor, 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 Taylor. Gang, 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 gang. Taylor, 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 Taylor. Gang, 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 gang. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. These are not the eyes, these are the lenses. The mind lives here inside the visual cortex, which is the reason that we don't see things the way they are. We just see things the way we are. You're not some flyer fly trapped in a jar. You are everything, not just a star. Woo! Supervision. See you on the other side. The necessity to see yourself on the other side of your problems, of any problems, of all problems, is a power that we all have, that we were gifted with upon our creation. To have the vision to see through the obstacles, the brick walls, past the hindrances, the obstacles, through the people that would stop you with their words. When you look at me, you see someone who is popular, a moneymaker, relatively healthy, hella handsome. But what you don't probably see is a little boy from the south side of Chicago who his mommy didn't love him. So she broke his nose and blacked his eyes and took all the skin off the back of his right hand when he was 6 years old with an iron. Some people see a privileged kid that may have bullied them in school or bullied someone they know, or an ostentatious boyfriend that broke their heart. Because we don't see things the way they are, we see things the way we are. My mother never looked at me with loving eyes. And because she did not activate certain parts of my brain with her gaze, I couldn't see the synapsi firing behind her eyes, in her real eye, in her brain, that would have activated certain neural patterns and synapsi. So I developed some learning challenges. The first one, very difficult for a little kid, dyslexia. Dyslexia dealing with the misordering of letters in the lexicon. The second one, dysgraphia, the inability to translate images from my mind through my hands onto a canvas, be it paper or chalkboard. The third, dyscalculia, the inability to remember numerical sequence. Anything past 3 numbers, I'm lost. So you can imagine how difficult this was in school. And when you're 6 years old and you should be at a first grade level and you're not, and the teacher says, "What's wrong with you, boy?" And your auntie says, "What's wrong with you, boy?" And the neighbors say, "What's wrong with you, boy?" And you have no answer. It's difficult. It feels impossible. At around the same age, 5 or 6, my mother started to engage with me from a physical standpoint. It started with spankings. It moved to what we call whippings. And then it escalated quickly to hand-to-hand combat. Where all I could do was try to defend myself, cover up as much as I could until she got tired of hitting my hands and say, uncover. So I had to take the brutality face on. And when you're a little kid and your face is swollen all the time and you have to make excuses and say, oh, some boys beat me up. Oh, that's because some boys beat me up. Oh, some boys caught me on the way to the store and beat me up. Oh, on my way to school, I got beat up. But when you have a mother like I had who was very gregarious and incredibly intelligent and could tell a story better than anybody, it silenced the cries of a little boy on the south side of Chicago with learning challenges. Those challenges became my constant. I began to see things differently. I had to, I was forced to. I stuttered until I was 8 years old, till I forced myself to read from the board in 2nd grade without stuttering. From Friday to Monday morning, I told myself I was gonna not stutter. Not that I didn't stutter, because I'm stuttering now, but I developed a very rare skill called circumlocution, where I was able to bypass my frontal lobe, which is responsible for metering out words, through certain gestures and using my breathing techniques and my xiphoid process to meter out the words. So that was the first thing I conquered. Writing was still difficult. My handwriting was atrocious because of my dysgraphia. So I would do A+ student effort to be a D student. Wasn't easy. And my father, who worked all the time, he didn't see that the de-evolution of his son from a scholastic standpoint was from his wife, because he was in love. And he couldn't see that his wife was destroying his son. Because we don't see things the way they are. We just see things the way we are. So, my father, who would have been my protector, became what is known in the clinical world as the unprotective parent. So I grew disdain for him, maybe even more than I did my mother. But there's a certain vision that you can have, that you can choose not to look at yourself through the eyes of your abuser, your attacker, your oppressor. You can choose to turn these off and turn this on. Open eyes and a closed mind equals a soul that's blind. You can be vision impaired, but see more than a person who's had the gift of sight their entire life. So I began to see myself as beautiful. Every time something broke inside of me, I collected it. Every time I cried out for mercy, and those cries went unanswered, something in me broke. But I saved it, I gathered it, I swept it up, I stapled it, I glued it, all back together inside me. And the first time I heard that I was beautiful, I told it to myself. And when I did that, another world opened up. And I had another condition called synesthesia. Synesthesia is when two or more senses meld together to make one new sense. So this is pretty much how I see everything that I think. except there are like a billion images in there, letters. If I learn a new language or come in contact with a new language, that language implements itself into this art. And that's how I make music. The melody I just sang, I made it up on the plane this morning. And I can do 5 of them here if I needed to. Because everything that I come in contact with in my mind has a sound. It has a melody to it. So I actually can see sounds. So the things that were my inhibitors became my gifts. Because I told myself I was beautiful, so that meant everything that I had value. Everything about me had value. And if it has value, it can be a resource. And I can become resourceful with resources. And I could build my own self. I could make the person that I wanted to be. I could make someone that was brave and strong and courageous and outgoing. Imagine when you are unconfident. You stumble. You trip a lot. So you're called clumsy. You're uncertain of how to move things in your general vicinity. They call you slow. But those metered steps and those intentional movements serve me well in doing what I do for a living now, which is writing and creating music. And those broken parts, me learning how to put those broken parts together allowed me to have superior problem-solving skills, which is creativity. And now I work with some of the most creative people in the world. Kanye West, Beyonce, John Legend, Adam Levine, Wiz Khalifa, Taylor Gang, Amber Rose. And we get together to find solutions to the broken things we see in our world with our supervision. I saw another me on the outside, the other side of my issues and my problems. I saw a giant where a dwarf would have existed. Supervision. I turned on my superpower, the only one I had. I activated it. This one we all have. Some people can jump out the gymnasium. That wasn't me. I didn't have that power. But I had supervision. And now I supervise others. And with that vision, me and my friends that I just mentioned, we go around the world looking for people who are resourceful, who have been broken and learned to fix the broken parts and turn into something magnanimous, something beautiful, something useful. And there's some companies that we have found, and there's others we're looking for. We are certain that there's millions. The body believes everything you say. See those broken parts as beautiful, as valuable, as a resource. Because those of us who have been broken, we have the ability, the uncanny ability to fix things and resurrect and right things. We don't see things the way they are. We just see things the way we are. You're not some firefly in a jar. You are everything, not just a star. Good music. Thank you.